Coming up, we reflect on a year of Indigenous excellence, from an Olympic gold medal winner to an award-winning chef. Plus, astronaut Nicole Mann weighs in on the impact of Native representation in space. I am Aaliyah Chavez. Join us for those interviews from the ICT Newscast.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.
Arizona is home to 22 tribal nations and more than 340,000 Native Americans. Arizona State University builds on more than 6 decades of working and partnering with tribal nations and communities. Many of our Native faculty incorporate Indigenous knowledge systems in seeking solutions through a process of community engagement that respects and honors traditional ways of thinking. Together, we are creating community solutions leading to a more equitable future.
This is the ICT Newscast with Aaliyah Chavez.
Amadawa Hopa, thank you for joining us. 2022 was a year that has seen major progress in Indigenous representation in TV and films. We caught up with a few creatives this year who are taking names in Hollywood. One such creative is Hunkpapa Lakota actor Zahn McClarnon. McClarnon is an award-winning actor who has appeared in over 80 film and television productions. Earlier this year, he spoke about his role in the hit series Reservation Dogs, where history was made both on camera and behind the scenes.
It's amazing that we finally have gotten here and that people are taking risks and finally allowing like Sterling and Sierra Ornelius to run television shows that are native. They're finally, these networks are realizing that, you know, there is a market out there for this content, you know, and we've always known that. Sure, we only make up a small percentage of the population of the United States, but you know, we make up some. I mean, what I heard was when Res Dogs came out that the numbers on subscriptions on Hulu jumped 10 times within, you know, like Nebraska and South Dakota and North Dakota and Arizona, where all the Indians live. And, you know, I think FX and these networks finally realized, oh, there is a market for Native content. And I'm just feel very grateful that I'm a part of that. And I'm at a stage in my career where I'm people want to hire me on these projects.
That was Hunkpapa Lakota actor Zahn McClarnon. Another actor pushing the needle forward in Hollywood is Hualapai citizen Kiowa Gordon. Gordon plays the character Jim Chi in AMC's Dark Winds. He touched on the importance of authenticity.
Well, it's great to have a cultural advisor there. It's invaluable because you want to get it right and you want to honor the language and respect the tribe and have that level of authenticity in your production. It's very important because not a lot of people care. And I think it just makes for better quality when you have authenticity and you have somebody there who can check you and be like, hey, you have to say this correctly.
To Gordon, Indigenous collaboration only strengthened the production of the series.
Yeah, I mean, being Hualapai, we're kind of in the same geographical area, but yeah, my dad actually went on a mission and he learned Navajo back in the 70s. And so I kind of got pointers from him, and his mission companion lives in New Mexico. So he came and met up with me and we did like a kind of Navajo 101. So that was pretty difficult to kind of learn a new language. And Navajo is not the easiest language. Yeah, so Navajo is not the easiest, but we had a translator on set. So anytime we needed, you know, to know that this is the right way of saying this, because you want to respect the language. And so every scene that had Navajo in it, he was there ready to help. So it was great.
You've been a part of a lot of productions now. Maybe talk about how important it is to have someone on set who speaks Navajo to kind of make sure that
Mhm.
you're getting it right. Talk about that.
Well, it's great to have a cultural advisor there. It's invaluable because you want to get it right and you want to honor the language and respect the tribe and have that level of authenticity in your production. It's very important because not a lot of people care, and I think it just makes for better quality when you have authenticity and you have somebody there who can check you and be like, hey, you have to say this correctly.
That was Wallapai actor Kiowa Gordon. Indigenous women have also taken names in the film and television industry this year. Fort Peck Sioux citizen Amber Midthunder denounced old Native American themes depicted in her sci-fi movie Prey. Prey is the first movie to be released in the Comanche language, and to Midthunder, creating space for Indigenous storytelling is vital.
I mean, listen, like my job is not, I'm not out there like making laws or, like helping sick people or anything like that as far as like community work. But I do feel like I find meaning in this job in exactly that way, that I think the way that Native people are represented and creating even just like job space for Native people, like hopefully movies like this or shows like Reservation Dogs and Rutherford Falls are doing, where it's like showcasing Native talent and how valuable that is as a resource. Because it's like you go back and we are historically like storytellers. That's like a hugely untapped resource for specifically this. And then the way that what good or bad representation can impact our people is so huge. So to be involved in that is like that's my like Navy SEAL, I feel like, purpose in like my career is I'm an actor, but really I'm doing this. So that's like, those are my goals.
Midthunder praises the film's depiction of Native Americans, especially women, as the heroine.
There's a lot of elements that I'm really proud of. I think one is the relatability that I think and the representation. So having a look inside of not just an Indigenous culture, but like a period piece Indigenous culture. Like you have kind of pictures of like the shows that I mentioned, that it's like Reservation Dogs and like Rutherford Falls. It's like those are both modern looks at like urban, Native society or res society or whatever, but it's modern day. Whereas this is all the way back in 1719. And so to represent Native people as still very human and intelligent and filled with different personalities and different, dynamics between people, like that I'm really proud of. And I think that's not something that you get a lot. And then just the idea that Native women have something to look at and feel like they can identify with and be like, wow, I can be strong and I can accomplish so much. Or like for res kids to like look at movies like this and have like tons of faces who look like theirs, that they can go like, wow, I can accomplish whatever I want to, and know that their space is needed and is valuable, like whether they want to be actors or writers or producers or run their own company or whatever. It's like there's so much that we can do, and the more that space is taken up and that next generation see that, I feel like the more they'll believe that they have value. And to me, that's really important.
Midthunder encourages other Indigenous creatives interested in the film and TV industry to pursue their dreams.
I would say to not be afraid to take up space and to know that you are valuable and that what you have to say is valuable and your perspective is unique, because right now there's like more Indigenous spaces being created, but it's not nearly done. So that resource and that perspective is so underseen, and it's so valuable and it's so interesting. And also like tenacity, just like don't stop, keep making your own stuff and look at every resource that you can, like show up to casting calls, show up to whatever is out there, like just don't quit, because there's a lot of other people who won't quit and will get opportunities, and so why not you?
That was Fort Peck Sioux actress Amber Midthunder. You can watch Reservation Dogs, Dark Winds, and Prey now on streaming services. When we come back, we'll explore sovereignty in athletics and food. In the 1912 Olympic Games, Jim Thorpe claimed an overwhelming gold medal victory in the decathlon and pentathlon. But after the Games, the International Olympic Committee found that Thorpe had been paid to play professional baseball. They stripped him of his medals and records, saying it was against the rules at the time. In July, the International Olympic Committee finally agreed to list Thorpe as the sole winner of the two events he earned a gold medal in. That came at the advocacy of many, including Billy Mills. Mills, who won Olympic gold in track and field in 1964, said Thorpe was his role model. He tells us about the restoration of Jim Thorpe's legacy and what it means to him as an athlete.
Trying to say it as condensed as I can, it truly was the first time I felt I was an Olympian. Jim Thorpe was never a hero of mine. He was one of the Olympic gods. And I have always felt at some point in my time when I go into the spirit world, I'm going to Mount Olympus, because that's where the great Olympians live, and hang out with Jim Thorpe. I was thrilled. A moment so deserving, and we must not let those stories die of Jim Thorpe. We must bring him back to life so generations in the future can know about Jim.
Mills touched on the impact future generations can expect from Thorpe's impact.
But two things that come to mind. One, I respect and honor the integrity of the two gentlemen that finished second to him, because they never truly called themselves the gold medalist. More importantly, we have to tell our own stories. We have to tell our stories. We must never let the winds of change or the passage of time wash those footprints that Jim Thorpe laid on Mother Earth away. Our young people can learn from Jim Thorpe's brilliance and his intensity, and not just young Native people, but people throughout the world, Indigenous people. It's our time, and we have to tell Jim Thorpe's story.
That was Oglala Lakota Olympic gold medal winner Billy Mills. Potawatomi and Mexican-American chef Pyet Despain is an award-winning private chef, and she's the first winner of Gordon Ramsay's new television show, Next Level Chef. Despite difficult beginnings, Despain reflects on her journey in using her heritage as a cooking superpower.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Kansas City, was born in Oklahoma, raised in Kansas City, and I decided to become a chef. And I had a hard time in Kansas City finding clients to take on, and no one wanted to hire private chefs here or in Kansas City. And so I decided to just get up and move out of Kansas. That way I could try to reach the level of success that I wanted to. And I thought to myself, where is a place that a private chef has an abundance of resources and job opportunities? And Los Angeles was one of the first ones that came to mind. And so I just packed up my car with my cat and everything that I owned, and I drove across the country to live in Los Angeles to try to make this dream work. And I've been in Los Angeles for 4 years, and it's been very, very tough, not only as a woman, as a chef, just as a Native American, Mexican, minority. It was really, really tough. And I faced homelessness. I was couch surfing. I lived out of my car with 2 suitcases for a year, just kind of bouncing around, me and my cat, going places to places. And it was just really an uncomfortable feeling. And I just, used to sit on the beach and cry and like, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? And of course, my family's like, you can always come back home. But I'm one of those people that when I set my mind to something, like I have to see it through. I have to give myself that opportunity to really like do it until the end. And I kept thinking, is this the end of it? Like, is this all? Do I have to go back to Kansas now and feel like a failure? And I kind of just, dug deep, and I thought to myself, no, I can't do that. And I continuously just worked towards my dreams and sharpened my skill set and did everything I possibly could to make this dream work. And it wasn't until I started falling into my heritage and really making food that represented myself and represented Indigenous people that things kind of started clicking and moving into a better direction. And I'm a very spiritual person, and so I had to do that, dig deep and really recognize like what my soul's purpose was and what am I here to do, what am I here to represent. And it wasn't until I started asking those questions that I started getting the answers. And so it landed me fortunately on the Gordon Ramsay's cooking show Next Level Chef, and I experienced a lot of hardships during that people didn't quite know about either. But I lost a friend while I was in the first week of filming for that show. And I almost left the show 1 week in, but I decided, like, just because her journey is over doesn't mean that this journey has to end for me. Like, this is like my wildest dreams coming true. And so I, really dug deep, and fortunately I was able to pull through and end up on top as the winner.
That was Potawatomi and Mexican-American chef Pyet Despain. Including Indigenous food and practices in modern-day society is becoming more of a reality. Cherokee citizen Carly Griffith Hotvedt is the Associate Director of the Indigenous Food and Agriculture Initiative. The initiative works with tribes and in tribal policy to advance food security and tribal agricultural enterprise development. I spoke with her earlier this May about how food sovereignty is crucial to tribal sovereignty. Let's take a look. So your Food and Agricultural Initiative, tell us more about it and what kinds of work you do.
Sure. So we had a pretty fortuitous founding by a couple of very dynamic Indigenous women. Stacy Leeds was the dean at the University of Arkansas School of Law, first Native American woman to be the dean of a law school, and Janie Sims-Hip, who was on faculty. And Janie and Stacy really got us off the ground with the intent to better serve tribes and tribal producers in supporting food initiative efforts. We cannot be truly sovereign unless we can feed our own people. Food sovereignty is a component of tribal sovereignty. And so our goal is to help reduce the barriers to access to resources and federal funding and programs, and also encourage our stakeholders to have their voices elevated for policy changes to better incorporate opportunities for Indian country.
And the initiative itself actually offers a number of services to tribes and to Native people. Tell us about some of those services.
Sure. So we offer direct consultation with tribal producers and tribal governments and also tribal organizations to help address and make recommendations about how to navigate Indigenous agriculture. We know that we have a lot of nuances associated with being Indigenous producers in the United States, including how we hold land, different access to markets, and different challenges that aren't necessarily experienced by non-Native producers and governments. And so we know that sometimes it takes a little bit of extra help or a little bit of a broader perspective to really capitalize on the opportunities that exist. So the resources that we have available are anything from infographics to how-tos, guided worksheets. We have what's called the EATS Academy, empowering agriculture through sovereignty, and have developed a series of resources available to help people get started and know what direction to head in, whether they're wanting to start or scale up their agribusiness operation.
You've talked a little bit about this already, but this idea of food security and food sovereignty, what exactly does that mean to you in Indian country?
So to me, food security means having the foods that you want to eat available to you in a manner that you are able to acquire them. Food sovereignty means that you are getting to make those decisions about those food choices and are really cognizant of what it means to be able to feed yourself, feed your family, and feed your community. in a way that is healthy and resilient and lines up with your cultural values. So when we're talking about food security, that's more availability. When we're talking about food sovereignty, that's self-determination and direction through our food sources.
Yeah, and all of it sounds interconnected, but also really different at the same time. I'm really curious, a lot of the other work that your initiative does is work to address policy and to advocate for tribal leaders. What's something that you hear from tribal leaders that they're saying, we really need some help in this, and help us reach out to lawmakers or address legislation? What
Sure.
are those topics?
So right now we're in the lead up to a Farm Bill. A Farm Bill is reauthorized every 5 years, so Farm Bill 2023 is coming up. We're actually the policy and research partners for the Native Farm Bill Coalition, so we have the opportunity to go out into the community and hear feedback from tribal leaders. There are a number of topics and issues that come up. There's geographical differences and cultural differences, but we're hearing a lot about the need for support for natural resource management to be equitable and fair and have access, also incorporating opportunities for tribal ecological knowledge in federal programs that maybe wouldn't otherwise consider them. So looking for ways to make policy better fit and match with our cultural traditions while also being cognizant of the need for economic development, revenue generation, job creation, resiliency and sustainability.
Maybe talk about climate change and how much that's affecting the work that you're doing, and what tribal leaders are saying that they need help with as well.
Sure. So when we're talking about climate change, that affects people in a variety of ways, but a lot of the things that we're seeing are a lot more weather volatility, and drought is a big example of that, and we're seeing a lot more issues with drought come up. So when we are looking at opportunities to be resilient, that means taking care of the resources that we do have and how we use them. Irrigation infrastructure upgrades is a big one. We're looking at ways to have a smaller carbon footprint and eat food more locally so it doesn't have to cross the country 3 or 4 times before it hits your plate. And reducing the inputs that are needed to get food from ground to plate is something that we're hearing a lot from a climate change perspective, because we know if we're able to use less or need less, we use less, and there's more available, and we don't have such a competition for resources.
We only have about a minute left, but we were talking off screen here before this interview started, and you said, this is my passion, I could talk about it all day. So if you were talking to a young person who said, that's a really cool business and I'd love to get started, where would you lead them to?
Sure. So one of the great things that we offer for young people, we have a youth summit every summer in Fayetteville at the school. Encourage youth from 18 to 24 to come participate in our youth summit to learn more about opportunities in tribal agriculture. It's not just production agriculture, it's not just cows and plows. There are a ton of job opportunities available, and I feel very lucky because I didn't know that my job existed. When I went to law school, I never thought that I would get back into agriculture, but I feel very lucky to have the opportunity to work in tribal governance, agriculture, policy and law, and it's a very exciting field, and I would encourage anybody to check it out. There are a lot more opportunities in agriculture than just what people think of initially.
That was Cherokee citizen and Associate Director of the Indigenous Food and Agriculture Initiative, Carly Griffith Hotvedt. When we come back, we'll explore sovereignty in space. We end our newscast in outer space with astronaut Nicole Mann. As the first Native American woman in space, the Wailaki astronaut is grateful for her journey outside of Earth.
It was a little bit later on in life, actually, that I realized that being an astronaut was an opportunity and something that I could do. And to be honest, I didn't understand when I was younger what astronauts actually did. And so once I, became a little more educated and learned of these possibilities, I was all in, and was excited to be a part, I think, of this team that explores space and human exploration, right? And the development of things that are going to benefit humans back on Earth. To me, that makes me very excited, and I just feel fortunate to be a part of it.
When it comes to breaking barriers, Mann wants people to know anything is possible.
I think it's very exciting. I think it's important that we communicate this, to our community so that other, Native kids, if they thought maybe that this was not a possibility, or to realize that some of those barriers that used to be there, right, are really starting to get broken down. So no matter your gender or your ethnicity, or your religion, these are possibilities here for the taking. And hopefully our kids are able to recognize that, and hopefully they'll see this mission and be sitting in the classroom and say, you know what, I want to go be an astronaut. I want to be an engineer. I want to be a Marine. And then they'll go after their goals.
She left a message of inspiration for Native youth.
To all the Native youth out there is that there is no end to the possibilities. And so if you're interested in math or science, or if you're interested in art or engineering, whatever that is, whatever you're passionate about, go for it and pursue that request or that dream. And it's okay to ask for help along the way. I had a lot of help on the way. It won't always be easy, but it's definitely worth it.
That was Wailaki astronaut Nicole Mann. And that's a slice of our Indigenous world. For all the latest, visit ictnews.org. From all of us in the newsroom, stay safe, my relatives.
Sometimes you got to take a stand just because you know you can. Oh, you got to run, you got to run.
The Sand Creek Massacre, the betrayal that changed Cheyenne and Arapaho people forever, focuses on tribal accounts of Colorado's deadliest day. Exhibition details at historycoloradocenter.org.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.